Okay, guys, welcome back. It is time to see how we get through this first batch of voting. Hopefully, I can figure this out. We're going to be doing some jumping around today. I believe each time you go through the game, regardless of the choices you make, you unlock something a bit different in the next playthrough. That being said, most of the game footage you end up skipping through because it's the same dialogue and the same plot and everything that you've already seen. So I'll show you any differences as they happen, and if you feel a little lost, it's probably just because we're skipping to a part that's different in our next quote-unquote playthrough. I hope that helps. We're gonna start with what happens when you introduce yourself to Avarisha. She joined Invidia, who was examining Avarisha, who reciprocated the stare. The air was a little tense, as though the older woman was utterly annoyed with him. Yes, can I help you? I just didn't expect... You're not a student, are you? The woman stayed silent for a while, looking slightly ticked off. Ancora watched the exchange for a moment, comparing it to the others meeting Superbia not too far away. The rabbit was getting absurdly angry. That's a contrast if I've ever seen one. How astute. Yes, I am not a student. I'm a teacher in this school. Do I have to be examined by everyone here right now? It's slightly annoying. I'm assuming all the others already noted the fact that it's clearly an older woman in the group, and that's what's ticking her off. Invidia backed off, raising both of his hands defensively. My bad. Anyway, I'm Invidia, and I'm guessing you're one of the names on that list, too. I'm Avarisha, and obviously it's not my real name. Do you know what it means? It's Latin for greed. I can't say I'm happy with it. Good to meet you, at any rate. I promise I won't treat you any differently than anyone else. Good to meet me. In here? Don't think so, no. Well, you're a teacher, a figure of authority, so that's reassuring. Ah. Ha. Do you hear yourself? You just said you wouldn't treat me any differently than anyone else. Invidia looked like he'd received a gut punch from mere words alone. Dealing with this woman clearly wasn't going to be easy. Ancora couldn't see her face, but she definitely looked permanently annoyed. I'm Ancora. I was with Invidia and Superbia earlier. Yeah, I could see that. She reached behind herself to mess with her hair a little, making it look even messier than before. Look, I might look cold, but at least I'm glad no one died so far, okay? Don't you two have others to meet too, anyway? Thanks for your time. I guess it wouldn't be a madhouse of criminals if someone wasn't extremely impolite. After everyone introduced themselves to each other, the group took a few moments to sort everything out, and now we continue. This is right after Superbia hits her head on the door, and we are going to talk to Invidia, see what he has to say. He stopped her with a hand. Before she could even say a word, he spoke to her. Everyone's watching, but almost nobody is doing anything. I don't feel like anyone here can be trusted. He leaned against a nearby wall, shrugging while explaining his reasoning. Let's take them one by one. First, let's look at Bia. I don't think she's scheming anything. If I had to guess, she's a really simple girl who thinks she's superior to everyone. Ironic, given her name is the Sin of Pride. Then there's me. You can choose to trust me or not, but I trust you. Which means he's perfect to use for now. Trist. Trist is the horse guy. I don't know, he feels a little sketchy. He's stable, and he doesn't come off too strong. He's probably one of the more reliable ones of the group. In here, this means he's the one you have to look out for the most. Ava is the teacher, and I don't think she's really a problem. She stands out the most, so I doubt she's going to try anything big. It's hard to read her because she doesn't think like the rest of us. She has a different agenda since she's older. Ira, honestly, he comes off as a real dimwit. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being someone else's pawn. Interesting. He's not too loud, though. At least, if he's dumb, he's not pushing himself on others. Lux is strange to me. She's really cute and nice. Most likely too nice. But it's hard to really think that way. We're all part of my emptiness, so I really wonder what her crime was. Finally, about Ula. I feel like she should be feeling a lot more shame than she does. She has a very eccentric look, too. Is it on purpose? I don't know. I'm having issues reading her, too. I see. Thanks for the monologue. But the others are on the move already, so we'd better hurry. Ancora couldn't even place a word the whole time. Giving up on having a discussion while the others were on the move again, the two of them went to catch up with them. Okay, will this change anything? This playthrough, things get a little dicey. Pandora could have taken anyone's name, which includes you too. So why am I the most suspicious? Before you answer that, consider this. How did you come to the conclusion your name is actually Superbia? There was the paper in our room, and we clearly had the answer right to escape the room. Bleh, nope, that didn't work. There was the paper in our room, and we clearly had the answer right to escape the room. No way. The answer we had to yell wasn't our names. It was the link all of us shared. In other words, my emptiness. She's right. We knew these names because we all remembered them, not because we read them on paper. I suppose it is misguided on Bia's part. However, my suspicions situate themselves on Cora regardless, given the other accusations. Your name is still whack and sounds like Pandora anyway. Remove the P, change the D into a C, and there you go. Ancora. Though it is not as if she chose it. Much like you, she has amnesia. However, I assume the mastermind is faking it. Be that as it may, well, perhaps. Seems like we're making some kind of headway. Havarisha is giving them a little bit too much to think about, but hopefully no one is going to notice the hint she just gave them all. See? The name means nothing. Why would I pick the name that would make me look most suspicious? Let's say you're right, and the mastermind made sure that 9th person died to take their name. What's a safer bet to not be found out? The strange name, or one of those conforming to the model? Logically speaking, I think you'd pick the name conforming to the model to blend in. But that's if your goal is not to be found out. Then again, I don't know what kind of goal would have you want to be found. And what is our goal here? Among us, we have to kill the real face of me. It wouldn't be much of a game if it was so easy we'd find Pandora in the first vote without any kind of clue other than guesswork. Don't tell me you're all buying this. Reverse psychology might have a good chance in swaying their opinions. Look, you've been a huge bitch to everyone, so I don't see why I should follow you more than Cora. It's true the name Ancora doesn't fit with the rest, but... Word. Word. I personally would rather just vote out the issues in the group first, and you're pretty high on the list right now. I am still not entirely convinced, though there is logic to what you are ascertaining. We still need more information. Until then, we don't have a choice. Avarisha is remaining silent. I think she's considering what's been said so far. Maybe she's been swayed already, which means only one more needs to be convinced. Oh, here we go. Oh boy. Ancora was gathering her thoughts. It was difficult to go over anything that could help her as the anxiety was getting to her. Seeing how she was panicking, others took the spotlight instead. Hey, Vidi, you know this game called Werewolf? Huh? Yeah, what about it? The game has a day-night cycle where normal villagers, which are the majority, try to vote and kill the one they suspect to be the werewolf, who, during the night, can turn others into werewolves, or outright eat them instead. It kind of feels like we're playing that right now, don't you think? I guess that's how it feels, but what are you implying by singling me out? What if that game truly is being played real time right now, and the girl in Lux and Ula's room died because you killed her before we woke up, and now we're in the next day's cycle? Maybe the one we're looking for, the wolf, has got to be voted out then, doesn't it? But I'm not here to kill anybody. In fact, I wasn't even in the classroom with Ula and Lux to begin with. It doesn't work anyway because, well, the girl was alive when we woke up. She only died later. This is going nowhere, and that's a stupid theory. Why would this be based on this werewolf game you're talking about anyway? My mind's still on Cora. Are you all just blind? Yeah, and besides, I have my own proof as to why Cora is suspicious. Show it then! We had a list of names in our room too, and on it was Ancora too. Does that mean there were two Coras? But our Ancora specifically introduced herself as Ancora before we found the list of names, same as Bia and I. Bia and me. Now's not the time for grammar, Cora. Was it the list of names or the website page? List of 3 names. What list of 3 names? We didn't have anything like that. Thinking about it, it must have been the website. Oh, I confused myself. Sorry. There's just one Cora then. We're still running in circles. Who's voting for who? I'm voting for whoever you vote for. Ira, that's so obvious, again. There's no purpose going over who's voting for who right now, and our time is quickly dwindling. We need to come up with a conclusion. You duplicitous lot may suit yourselves with this debate, but I desire to keep the equilibrium between my head and the rest of my body proper. For that purpose and the additional purpose of your common survival, I propose we vote swiftly and promptly. I guess there's no avoiding it then. We still don't really know who to vote for, but... Wait up. I want to vote too, but we still have 2 minutes, and I don't want to vote for someone innocent. No one's innocent here, Teach. We're all criminals. Ugh, you know what I meant. I have doubts on Cora, and I'd rather not vote for her. I see. So we're going into that outcome. Guess it sucks for me, but it will save all of them. What are you talking about? Too long to explain, and we're running out of time. We're all voting for someone different, and we're stuck in a deadlock. That's all I need to know. We need to come to a conclusion. I am not dying because the teacher put us all in a fucking deadlock. I have been given specific instructions in case this happened. Just vote for me and don't look back. If I die, everything falls apart and everyone will be saved. What? Everyone there. Specific instructions? He's lost it. At this point, I'm not even arguing. Just vote for the wolf. Vote for the wolf, I see. Sure, I guess. I also don't understand what he's talking about, but with that kind of sacrifice, there's no way he's the traitor. I don't think it's possible to change their minds, though. So go ahead, vote for me. I've done some bad stuff too, you know. At least, maybe with this, I'm going to atone for the crime I did, and to you, Bia. What? What do you mean by that? Vote already! Don't you get that lives are on the line here? 7 people are counting on this to happen. 7 people? You think I'm gonna vote just because you said that? I need to know what you mean by this stuff too. Like, you can't totally bail on me after saying some stupid thing like that. I totally can. Eat shit and vote. And Cora, remember what I told you earlier, and don't forget it. About people not being able to trust, or something like that, was it? Why would he bring that up now? Whatever then! If you want to die a hero for your precious Cora, I don't care. So, we vote for Vidi. Yeah, sounds like it. That's a complete waste of a vote. Maybe the next one will be more useful. Really? Dang! Error? That must be where that other girl was. That sucks. Remember what I said last time? Yeah, literally. I wasn't even... The screens above the voting console settled onto NVIDIA's symbol. It was clear what was to follow. It was his execution. Every shotgun but the victims released their hold, leaving the participants to witness the... I don't know how to say that. The macabre outcome. It took only a moment for the gunshot to come. It sounded like it had shot NVIDIA at point-blank range, but in reality there were no bullet holes in the helmet he wore. Time slowed down. Eventually, everything froze. Lone wolves die alone? No, I'm not happy about this. Did something go wrong? It feels as though something should have happened. But nothing happened before time resumed its course. At that moment, an explosion engulfed NVIDIA's body in a cloud of dust and smoke. As it all settled down, the vision became much more horrific than before. NVIDIA remained on the ground with a charred mark on the floor where his head once was. No one could say anything. Some of them, like Luxuria, had turned away in order to not witness the horrendous outcome for what it was, rather content in watching the consoles instead. Others, like Tristitia, stared, dumbfounded. A large pool of red, reminiscent of spilled ink, was spreading from the empty abyss of that missing neck. Ancora watched the remains of perhaps her only real ally, lying limp to the blood-stained surface. The feelings coursing through Ancora were unclear and indescribable. There was fear, horror, apprehension, but there was also relief. It hadn't been her body lying on the ground. Everyone else most likely felt much of the same. What the fuck? Am I the only one who thinks this is insane? It happened, didn't it? Yes. Vidi's dead. He's not just dead. That's not death, that's desecration. That's like being fucking dead. Those are the same thing. Adding the swear in front of it doesn't make it a completely different thing, Bia. For a moment, it looked like Avarisha was going to say something, as her body language clearly indicated hesitation, but she merely walked off with her shoulders slumped. The silence settling on the group lasted for a while. The dust slowly dispersed as everyone in the group took the outcome in stride. The dead body was a reminder that this fate could be one they all shared. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. The goal is for only the traitor to die, or the least amount of them, since that's not possible now. You know, the worst thing about death is that dead body, it's not a person anymore. It used to be a person, and now it's just an object. It's just a thing. It's just an object. You could shake it, but Vidi's not gonna answer. He was alive right before that, though. He was talking and arguing with us. It's just a lack of the ability to process information and answer accordingly. It's not really different than a machine. Except we can process it differently because we can choose to not act accordingly. Assuming what you enunciate is true, would that not mean we would be following the script regardless? Ancora paid little attention, looking around for the others. Ira and Superbia had been strangely quiet. It's because they both left already. Avarisha was still gone, and Luxuria wasn't near them. After all, it is presumptuous to assume we have this free will, when the choice, as you inferred, is made based on available information. Tristisha finally stared back at Gula, shrugging. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think anyone can tell. If I had to guess, though, you're probably correct. Again, Tristisha shrugged. We're like monkey puppets, dancing on the strings of fate. Maybe it's not called fate. Maybe it's called destiny. Maybe it's called Shakespeare's script. The point is, you can't drive your train off course. It will stay on the rails. Of course, with sufficient force, I guess you could make it go off the rails. When that happens, though, it's not a good outcome. You'll crash and kill dozens, if not hundreds. And as you can see before us, the consequence is real. He pushed against Invidia's side with his foot. Gula grimly retained her silence. The only sound interrupting the moment came from Luxuria, whose tears were running wild. Is that sobbing from fear? Disgust? Legitimate sorrow? Either way, it doesn't look like we got the mastermind. The others looked at her. It was a real worry. With the timer ticking down again, they had a job to fulfill. Truth be told, the game will really only end the moment I find out the traitor. Anything to manipulate them into thinking they won. I'm guessing Vidi's not been our target. I suppose we'll just have to keep the train going. Hopefully I'm not the next one entering eternity. I don't think anybody would hope for that. Can we stop talking about death? The little girl spoke aloud amidst her tears, supporting herself against one of the consoles. Gula and Tristisha split from the others, deciding to take their conversation elsewhere. Ancora remained with Luxuria. We can go somewhere too, if you want. Elsewhere. I guess. I can't believe this actually happened. Twice now. Twice a beheading. The others from when that girl got the wrong guess, most likely. As Ancora noticed when she wandered closer, Luxuria was extremely destabilized by the event, to the point where she was not only hugging herself in fear, but also on the verge of mental collapse. Want to help me put in the cards into the slots in the middle? We have to do it at some point, so we may as well fill 9 cards in. Okay. The angle of her helmet showed she gave a glance toward the headless corpse before she set off to work alongside Ancora. The two of them began collecting the deactivated cards from the consoles, careful not to wander in front of one of the shotguns. Yeah, that's fair. It would be too stupid if one of them fired by mistake. It's obvious they can't fire unless a vote is cast, and that they don't shoot real bullets. This precaution is just for Luxuria's state, for sure. Lux, are you calmer now? Ancora asked the question, though she didn't expect any real answer out of the girl. To her surprise, she nodded while they were putting in the cards into the contraption. Yeah, a little now. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to be weak like this either. It's just the body. What about the body? I'm just glad I can't smell. Oh, God. You good, Rally? I'm just glad I can't smell it, or I'd probably... Ancora's vision faded right afterwards. Very soon, everyone's helmets displayed me once more. Their instructions weren't over yet. Greetings once more. I'm sure you'd rather not see me again, not after the vote and your forced witness of a dead body. I would like to remind you that there will be 5 more in total today other than this one, so you should strap yourselves in. The carnage isn't over yet. Far from it. Fortunately for you, now you have an hour of respite. Please use your time well. We will be heading towards more of those education rooms now. If you'd remember the room you woke up in, they're a little like that. All the Mii cards are hidden further inside. To progress, you will have to unlock the door leading to the hallway, much like how you've unlocked the previous one. That is correct. Another puzzle awaits you. Hopefully you didn't kill off your best puzzle solver yet, or else you would regret it now. The timer inside of Encora's helmet read exactly 4 hours remaining. Once you've made your way inside, you will have to split up into 3 groups. You may be 1, 2, or 3 in a group. The very moment 4 people enter the same classroom, they will surrender their right to live. Each classroom has an assigned subject for you to study and a question to answer. The subject and question will be given to you personally by me after 39 seconds have elapsed since the room's door has been opened, which is also when it will close and lock. Don't you feel smarter by learning various subjects? Another smart thing to do, not opening the doors until you are ready to go in, otherwise it will lock you out for 39 minutes. Please remember that once you enter a room, you will also only have 39 minutes before you surrender your right to live. Time is of the essence, and I will stop taking it from you for now. From now on, I will only appear to give you each room's subject as you enter them. I wish all 7 of you good luck, and don't forget, I'll see you later. Hoo boy. Then the image faded once more, and Encora's vision was replaced with the real world. She looked at Luxuria, who looked back at her. The bear-themed girl decided to keep Luxuria company instead of helping the others solve the aforementioned puzzle. They can probably take care of this one on their own anyway. The others had all gone to gather in front of the double doors leading further into Wing A. Luxuria brought Encora back to her with some more talking. I kind of want to look at this machine a bit more. We only have so much time before the next voting round. If we're going to do that, we'll be leaving the teams to separate in strange groups. What do you mean? We're 7 left now, so that means if we both stay here to look at the machine and try to figure out how it works, we're leaving them to split as teams of 2, 2, and 1. Do we have to? What if they split up into 2 groups of 2 and 3, and we go together in one of the rooms? I guess. But in that case, I should go tell the group. For a moment, Luxuria hesitated. Encora could tell it was because this would leave her alone, and there was already a feeling of kinship developing between the 2 of them. Already clinging on to another, huh? Okay, but come back fast, Cora. After promising it to Luxuria, Encora walked off to join the main group in order to tell their plan. Encora found the others as they were caught in a rather heated debate amongst themselves. No way am I going in without anybody here! Or with anybody here, my bad. Now that I know you're all loons like Viti, I can't take any chances for myself. Is this cacophony related to what he was trying to tell you before dying? No, I just don't give a shit about any of you. Should you pursue this unreasonable course of action, I suggest we remove you from the group promptly and set you aside outside of the rooms we shall be investigating without a Mii card for the subsequent voting session. You guys can't vote without me anyway, so you'll have to hand one over sooner or later. Ira's fists were closed in anger. Looking at the others, Encora realized she had to do something, or else a fight was going to break out. In order to mediate the group, Encora... Woohoo! I mean... My first thought is to disagree with Superbia, but it's not worded as disagree with her, it's worded as it's worded as bitched out Superbia. And then, I mean, I don't disagree with them, though. Like, if she's not gonna put forth the effort, like, why, like, what the heck? But also, I feel like I'm not gonna make any friends if this is clearly, like, aggressive, you know? So, maybe try disagreeing with both of them? What are you doing? Trist, Bia, Ira, Ula, all of you, just stop, please. Oh, hey, Cora. Stay out of this. We've got this. No, you don't. I really do not care about any of you, and I don't want to go with any of you. Cora's voice was drowned out by the fight starting anew. Okay, so I should have said something to Superbia. She decided to scream at the top of her lungs to combat the noise. Shut up! We have no time, so I'll take the bitch and you guys can group up. Okay. What the hell? No fucking way. It's either that or you stay out of the rooms and get off next, most likely. Nobody wants to deal with a useless brat. He told her. The girl's proposition went rather flawlessly. Okay, so maybe we did. Alright. The entire group was glad to not have to deal with Superbia anymore, so they didn't have any issue pawning her off to Ancora. Only Ira didn't change his stance for a few moments before he reluctantly agreed to it. Very well then. I'll be going with Ira, and Ula will be going with Ava. Are you certain of this? The teams seem moderately unbalanced. I'm afraid I cannot accept a mere thoughtless endeavor. No, it's not unbalanced. You and Ava are smart, but I think I'm able to piece things better. That way, I should go with the most cognitively challenged individual in order to round it out. If you're so certain of your assumptions, very well. Yet I harbor some disagreements regarding the fact you believe your personage to be so mentally superior to us. I'll be leaving the group now, okay? Bia, come. We'll go have a look at what Luxuria wanted us to check, and then we'll go. The rabbit-themed girl shrugged and went with the bear-themed girl after a brief goodbye thrown to the others. Joining back with Luxuria, the two girls noticed that the smaller one had been in the process of examining the machine already. Lux, we've got to go soon to solve a room. The timer's ticking down, and... No, wait! Cora, look! Bia, you too! The two girls approached, curious. Luxuria was examining the 9th station, the one that belonged to the person the two others hadn't seen. I think we can do something here. She pointed at the mechanism behind. The shotgun that had been propped up was held by a tall pillar to match the console, which one could open by applying pressure onto the inside panel, not visible from afar. And what does that all mean? I don't know yet, but it opens. Ancora knelt beside it and took a look inside. There was machinery, cogs, and belts. Clearly, they were all made to hook into one another to trigger the shotgun. How it actually worked remained a mystery at a simple glance. We can mess with this one and it won't matter too much, but the others won't open. This is dangerous territory to cross, though. I want to look at it too. Think it's fine if we fuck around with this stuff, or will me roll over us all like, what up? It might be good to look at the others. Maybe they open like this one. There shouldn't be any harm in just having a look, but I think me will get mad if we break this stuff. Ancora stood back up and let Superbia have a look inside the box. While the rabbit remained there, the other girls searched the rest. As much as Ancora tried, no box opened like that first one, except for the one behind Nvidia's console. So they can open after they fire? Something doesn't feel right. Must be a problem with the mechanism. None of this should be accessible under normal circumstances. Ancora watched the box for a moment before reaching inside with a hand. She found a small switch she could flip. It was very well hidden in the very back, and unless you knew where to find it, it seemed impossible to figure out its location. That's the mechanism to release the gun. This will give a very huge advantage over the others, but it will also make it much harder to garner their trust. Either way, it's not loaded. None of them are. What happens when they fire is entirely from the helmet's side. That's interesting. Her thumb brushed against the switch, and after a small push of her hand, the mechanism began moving. Very quickly, the bear-themed girl pulled her arm out of the box, just as the clasps released the instrument of death. The question remained, either Ancora took the gun or she left it there. On one hand, the gun would give her protection, as if it was left here to act as a shield. Ancora glanced at the other two. They hadn't noticed the gun coming loose. Having it would make her a prime target. That was why, if she took it, she had to be sure of what she wanted to do with it. With the stress of the moment getting to her head, Ancora... I don't think we should take the gun, especially because we still don't have any good ideas as to who we're trying to look for, who the traitor is, or anything like that. So I'm just gonna say look at it. She rose back up to merely examine the gun. Soon Superbia glanced over, keeping her distance still. What's up with the gun? Found anything special? No, nothing. She reached for the gun before Superbia could do it, lifting it up and off the slot. As she did so, Superbia took a step back, looking surprised enough her body reacted instantly. Hey, what are you doing with this? I'm just looking at it. She flipped the gun over, trying to figure out how to open it. After doing so, she confirmed to Superbia the shotgun had no shells. Luxuria arrived at that moment, noticing that fact too, before Ancora put the gun back where it was. See? They're not loaded. It didn't feel too reassuring, but Ancora didn't feel like she had to explain herself any further. She was actually eager to move from the voting stands, since the boxes could be opened if the person in question died. The last thing I'd want is for anyone else to grab one of the shotguns, even if they aren't loaded. Unsurprisingly, the two girls followed without any fuss. Much like Ancora, they were in a hurry to move away from where the instruments of death were being held. On the way towards Wing A, Superbia asked the two girls a peculiar question. Hey, let's say you had a shotgun and it was loaded. Who would you shoot? Huh? Her tone made it clear the question took her by surprise. Time was ticking, but the three of them came to a standstill near the entrance to Wing A. Are you sure we have time for this? Why not? Do we really have to explore a room? We've got 6 hours, 2.5 nearly went by, votes in about 35 minutes. Well, we need those me cards. Unless someone dies during this hour slice. Luxuria's knees shook a little. Ancora could tell that she wasn't a fan of the upcoming plan of assassination. Those guns aren't loaded anyway. Maybe Tristitia? He's a little creepy. Ancora looked at Luxuria with surprise. The girl had been quite scared of bodies earlier, and now she was answering Superbia. Though I do agree, he is a little creepy. So, Ancora, what's it going to be then? If you could shoot someone, who? Ancora thought about it for a moment. She figured answering either Superbia or Luxuria wouldn't be a good idea. Given the choice, she would shoot... First of all, I don't think we should say Ira, because even if Superbia doesn't really care very much about him actually, she still knows that he is an ally and that he is on her side. So she wouldn't want him to die. And I don't think I should say Gula because Luxuria was with Gula at first, and for some reason I get the feeling that they experienced something maybe having to do with the werewolf game that Nvidia was talking about, or maybe having to do with the death of the first person who must have been a panda, I guess. So I guess, yeah, I would go with Tristitia. Even though I really wouldn't, I don't know. I don't think I would pick him first. Because on the one hand, he is a good person to have around to present another argument or another side of things. He was useful, you know, like in the first trial. I called it a trial. I don't even know what it's called. But yeah. But yeah, it matters what we say in front of these two. I'd shoot Tristitia too, I guess. It's true he's a bit creepy, and he's too calm when around dead bodies. There was no reason to pick differently from Luxuria. She hoped this could bring them together a little closer. Superbia shrugged, as if it didn't matter to her. But you're right either way. Regardless of who you'd shoot, the guns aren't loaded. Let's just get a move on. The rabbit-themed girl gave a nod towards the open hallway. Ancora stared at Luxuria, who said nothing, though she averted her gaze. Following up on their marching order from before, Ancora took the lead. I wonder if Superbia asked that because she wanted to kind of get their opinions on who they were looking out for and if that person was Ira or not. Ancora stopped in front of a closed door. This was the classroom the first group had chosen to explore. She wasn't sure if this was Ira and Tristitia's room, or if it was Avarisha and Gula's room. The metal plate at the top was far too high for her to look inside without jumping, and either way it was covered by said metal plate. Even if she could reach it, it was useless. This door's closed, so there's no point in sticking around. The girls set off again, finding a second door that was much like the first. The other two groups had gone for the closest ones. I wonder what kind of subject each group is learning about now. She murmured to herself, but no one answered her. The two girls must have been thinking about it too. She assumed they were too stressed out by what they might have to solve in their room. Finally, Ancora stood before the final room for the section of Wing A, and she opened the door to look inside. There was a comfortable lounging area. She was about to walk in before she realized something was amiss. Luxuria and Superbia were gone. Fudge nuggets, since when have they left? This is very much not the time. The door is going to lock in the next 39 seconds. A bad feeling spread through Ancora. Leaving the door aside, she retracted her steps to find the tallest and the shortest girls of the group. Solving it alone would cause more issues than problems it would resolve. There's no helping it then. Someone's gonna have to die without a voting session. Where have you gone? We have to solve this fast. In truth, the door had already locked by the time the girl had reached the entrance of Wing A again. Only silence greeted her, giving her no clues to where the others had gone. They couldn't have gone too far. There was only one way to take. Even though there were a few twists and turns to Wing A, the entirety of it had just been one long hallway. But now she was at a crossroads. Fitting, for this middle area of the school was often nicknamed the Crossroads by the students, as it stood between all four wings. Where did they go? Did they go back to the voting machine? Did they go back to the first hallway? Ancora wasn't sure, but ultimately, oof. Isn't the first hallway where we just were? So I guess check the voting machine? Her steps brought her to the mechanisms they had inspected earlier. There was no trace of anybody or anything at all. That's right, something was wrong. She didn't expect to necessarily find anyone here, but as she approached the shotguns to examine the 9th one, something was amiss. It's gone? The shotgun was there, of course, yet her hand was going through it, unable to touch it or pick it up. The same was happening to Invidia's shotgun. She could touch the symbol plates, but not the firearms. So they're holograms? Huh? It's there, but I can't touch it. What is this? What does it mean? I definitely could touch it earlier. A ghost? Can't touch it, hand going through it? That's the sign of a ghost, isn't it? No, that doesn't make any sense. Ancora was scared by what she was witnessing, scared enough to leave the area back to the staircase. She waited there a few minutes to try and figure out where Luxuria and Superbia had gone, but they never appeared. Instead, she went into the first hallway, deciding they must have been there. But there wasn't anyone. The girl tried to process just how that was possible. She'd explored every possible area of the wing and the crossroads. By now, the timer showed there were only 10 minutes remaining. Groups would begin to emerge from their rooms soon. There's no time to lose. Where are you? Oh? As if to answer her, a loud gunshot echoed in the hallway. It came from behind. Ancora fell to the ground after that, body flopping over like a marionette with its strings cut. Before her vision had cut, she almost saw what the figure looked like. It was not alone. There were 2 of them. And finally, everything went absolutely black. I wonder whose shadows those were. The most possible explanation would be Luxuria and Superbia's shadows, but there are 2 problems with that. The first problem is obviously that both shadows were somewhat tall. That excludes Luxuria from having taken part in it, unless her shadow magically grows taller than most others. The second problem is the shotgun. Nobody taught them how to remove it unless one of them spied while it was happening. Once again, Luxuria is too short to have done that without being noticed. So do you think Tristitia and whoever he was with were spying on them? And then they somehow separated them and then took her out? Superbia was definitely one of the 2 of them, though. Oh? That means Superbia took the shotgun. But the shotgun was still there. For some reason, all the shotguns were there, even if any attempt at contact with them failed. As for the second shadow, I don't know whose it is. I can only guess. It was a little shapely, a little defined, like muscles, so maybe... Okay, so it was Superbia and Ira. Maybe it was Ira. Maybe his presence there caused this to happen, in which case he should have been removed. If I had another chance, I'd tell myself to watch out for Ira, to focus on Ira. Without Ira, Superbia probably would be as defenseless as a little bunny. Looking at the consoles too closely had been a mistake, too. I still can't wrap my head around the state of the shotguns. Something strange is going on here. Not that it matters to me anymore. Near endless darkness awaits. Okay. So at least we have a better idea of what we should be looking for? Possibly. So I think according to this, even if we had made different choices, we still would have gotten... I mean, different choices after Invidia's death. Even if we had made different choices after that, I think we still would have gotten the same result. So, looks like we have to do something. We have 2 more things to unlock. In the last one, we just saw Invidia die. This one may go a little differently. Okay. Here, this is where it's different. Okay, my bad. Instead of looking at what's most suspicious, we should turn the chessboard over and think like Pandora. For example, what wrongful assumptions could we have made about her? She said she's among us, but she could be lying. I don't see why she'd want to put herself in danger. Also, Pandora being a girl's name is dangerous to assume, too. The most likely scenario is that Pandora isn't a girl, but instead a boy, and we've been misguided from the start. She does bring a good point with this. Pandora always felt like a girl due to that name, but it's possible she's a guy pretending to be a girl. That's if we think they would be much less suspicious that way. Yeah, huh. I mean, that makes sense, but we're really out of time soon. I doubt Vidi or Trist would be Pandora. You're both smart enough, it would seem too likely. The only viable culprit for the least likely possibility is Ira. Wait, you don't actually think that, do you? Fuck off, Ava. He's stupid, but he's not Pandora. Stupid, huh? Please don't insult each other. This isn't going anywhere. Maybe Cora's right. I'm just saying it how it is, and I already know he's a bit of a dunce. Just a little bit more and we'll get it. Ira seems to be getting very angry, and Lux is getting on the train. Time to drop the bomb and secure this outcome. And how do you know all that about him? You two seem really familiar with each other. It's almost like you've got a relationship together. Something you don't want us to find out. That's a complete lie. Bia. No, shut up. I won't have any of it. This is stupid. You can either vote with me or die like everyone else, because you'll be dead wrong. Cora is grasping at straws. Is that why you're suddenly way nervous about it? You're a bad liar, Bia. Is that the truth, then? Speak up, Bunny. That's not the truth at all! Just a stupid lie! Bia! Shut up! Say nothing, you imbecile! You're dumb if you think... Bia, you... Okay, so let's assume we do. What then? What does it matter? Is that gonna turn us into the mastermind or something? Bia, we should tell them. No, stop talking! The only reason why you're not a barefoot hobo is me, so you're gonna listen. At that point, Ira closed his hands and fists and punched against the console, causing Superbia to shut up after releasing a small cry of surprise. No, you shut up! You treat me like shit all the time! It's poor Ira this, poor Ira that, and you think you can act like you do because you're rich. I don't need your pity, I don't need your money. Look, before this starts degenerating, yeah, we're dating. Not only are we dating, but I can assure you that she's the real deal. She's not an imposter. I know her well enough for that. She's like this all the time. But me? I'm an accomplice. What are you saying? Just vote for Cora. No, I'm not voting for Cora. I'm voting for myself. Ira went against Superbia, which clearly was making her increasingly angrier as the seconds passed. Why would you... Okay. I mean, if he feels responsible, I guess. I'm an accomplice, so vote for me. All of you, vote for me. It's a better future than living it out with you like this. Consider this my personal choice. My decision. That's kind of unexpected, honestly. Couldn't they just, break up? No, you're not! I'm not voting for your dumbass self, I'm just what? No, Bia, you're just mad because this is my choice. That's been my crime anyway. My crime is that I'm an accomplice to all the bad shit going on here, and I won't let you kill Cora too. For the first time, Superbia seemed to be at a loss for words. His tone had definitely changed. He wasn't even stuttering anymore. No one else dared interrupt their discussion. How can you say that? I can say it because I'm tired of it. Maybe you'll be less of a sad sack in the future. I'd rather die and teach you that life is shit when you're alone. I'd rather die than vote for someone who doesn't deserve it, Bia. This is what I can do. This is all I can do in defiance. Superbia smashed her fist against the button to vote, her hand trembling for a few moments. To anyone who stared at her, it was clear her ego had taken a decent blow. You did this to yourself, Ira. Fucking idiot. You won't make me feel bad over it. We'll see about that after I'm dead. And for everyone else, I'll see you in the afterlife. Our lives being toyed with like this? Just what we deserve, isn't it? But I won't stand for it, still. Find that asshole and kill them. That is my wish. Hey, Poppy. Hey. Shush, 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 shush. Shush, shush. Calmly, Ira pushed the button. From Encore's view, it wasn't clear who he voted for, but from his tone it had been crystal clear. He voted for himself. Silence settled in until everyone realized they had only a few seconds to spare before the shotguns were going to fire. Immediately, everyone voted. Seems like they're voting for Ira. Invidia, Tristitia, and Superbia probably voted for him just now. With their votes, that's 4. This is going to be a majority vote. Well, I don't know if he was the traitor, but he didn't feel like it. Time to vote for what it'll matter. Sorry, Ira, but I can't let your wish come true. Sorry, Ira. The screens above the voting console settled onto Ira's symbol. It was clear what was to follow. It was his execution. Every shotgun but the victims released their hold, leaving the participants to witness the macabre outcome. I gotta look that up. I keep forgetting. It took only a moment for the gunshot to come. It sounded like it had shot Ira at point-blank range, but in reality, there were no bullet holes in the helmet he wore. Time slowed down. Eventually, everything froze. We got an achievement for lion eating the sun. And this is interesting. We're back to this sort of text. Okay. The text from the beginning. Or at least, the format that they used. Hello. Who are you? I don't know. Some say my name is Pandora. Hello then, Pandora. Okay, so this is Ira on the right and Pandora on the left. I think I'm dead. Are you sure? You don't look dead to me. I can't move. I mean, I can, but it's strange. Is what's moving just my mind? I guess you're dead then, but death is fine too. Yeah, now that you mention it, I guess so. It's kind of hard to make out who's talking. It feels like when you talk, I'm talking too. What does it mean? Maybe you're a part of me now, because I remember you. Is that so? What kind of person was I? You were an idiot. A strong body, but a weak mind. You let someone control you. Your aspirations were weak. All that was on your mind was the person who tortured you. You helped them do something horrible, didn't you? I remember now. You're right. I was an idiot. I didn't choose to be poor. It just happened like that. Alone with Mom, no more income. I had to stay strong for the family. Then someone came in, a helper. They provided all I needed. They were my light, my only way out. Then it was all ruined. What happened to ruin it? Pride. Stupid pride blinded them. But part of it was my fault too. I refused to change. A common mistake. I was an accomplice to a crime I hated. That desire blinded me, but I couldn't help it. Chasing after a ghost. That's what life was. At least I did something. Are you sure? No. Maybe this is just me wishing I did. Because if I'd done nothing, why was I alive? There was nothing. It sucked. Do you remember how you died? Huh? Not really, no. Does it matter? Yes. It matters because when you died, it was your choice. Even if you say you'd done nothing, you did choose then. No one was controlling you. So I did something. That's good. I just hope when I died, I was doing the right thing. Thankfully, that doesn't matter now. Yeah, it doesn't matter now. Nothing does. Though, before I'm done, I want to know my name. Your name? You don't recall? No, I don't know what it is. You sure? Well, there is something, but I don't know if that's right. What is it? I think it's Marco. And your surname? Marco. I don't know. Can you confirm it? Your name's Alex. Alex Seville. Marco? Alex. Same name. I mean, that's weird. That I ended up forgetting my name. Maybe it's Alex. Even that doesn't matter now, though. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Alex's to Alex's? You've surrendered your right to live. I'll now carry your memory. Thanks. So, okay, but I'm confused as to why he thought his name was Marco, and then Pandora's like, no, you're Alex Seville. What significance does that have? Is it just something like, Marco was his name in the organization or something? Or, I don't know. Well, that's done now. As time resumed its flow, the aftermath of the vote's outcome rang through Ancora's head again. Among the group was a dead body. Right afterward, a detonation came from it. Ira's head became engulfed in a cloud of smoke and dust. Everyone watched in silent horror at what their vote had caused. After everything settled down, they were expecting to see a limp corpse. The result wasn't too far off the mark, but instead of being merely a corpse, it was a headless corpse. There was nothing left above the shoulders. The smallest of the bunch immediately averted her gaze to disappear to the other side of the consoles, where there was no dead body and no explosion. Where there was no pool of blood marring the ground in its deathly crimson hue. Yep, it's all good when you start to make stuff up. The flood from the neck had caused the floor to take on a reddish tint, with rivulets of the liquid scattered as would drops of rain. Unlike raindrops, which washed, these drying spots remained, a reminder that this was real and that someone had died. Escaping death was lucky. An opportunity like this won't repeat itself. Next time, it'll be harder. It happened, did it not? Yes, Ira's dead. The dust slowly cleared as the seconds passed. Superbia's hands were closed in fists, and she was trembling. Despite her previous countenance, it was clear the rabbit had been affected by the outcome. While it was lucky, he wasn't my primary target. A clean waste. At least Superbia's lost a pawn. Let's go. We have more cards to find, and so little time. I agree. This scene is... The smell is particularly terrible, too. Wait. The smell? But in that other, I don't know, timeline, in that other save or whatever, Lux said she was glad she couldn't smell it. Is that something in particular to his helmet? Alright. It's just a fucking dead body. You're all from my emptiness. Put on your thick skin. The reality of the situation was slowly sinking inside. Superbia looked at Invidia while the boy was accusing her. His blood is on your hands, as much as all the people you've mistreated. You drove him to this point. That is none of your concern. Mind your own self. Invidia shook his head and walked away, prematurely interrupting the conversation. It was clear that Superbia wouldn't be winning anybody's trust anytime soon. The prospects did not please her at all. Ancora looked around. Avarisha had gone missing as soon as she went free, most likely to search for another Mii card. It was the same for Gula, who left just then. The only ones remaining around the consoles were Superbia, Ancora, Luxuria, and Tristitia. You don't seem really affected by it, Trist. Tristitia finally stared back at Ancora, shrugging. People live and die. Do you know what percentage of the human population is still alive out of our entire history? Mathematically, that's around 7.5%. Each death doesn't even make it budge much. Again, Tristitia shrugged. What you see here is just a result. A real result, mind you. It was a result brought on by what we perceived was real, like the Thomas theorem. If men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences. It's a little like a placebo. We didn't really know if this entire thing was real. If it was a joke or not. Maybe some of us didn't take it seriously. But the consequence is real now. We needed this wake-up call. And let me ask you, what's so peculiar about Ira's dead body? He pointed at the lack of a head. We were all in front of a shotgun. The one in front of him fired, but there were no bullet wounds. Those guns might not really shoot, but we still die when they get us. It doesn't matter. We didn't get the mastermind. The others looked at her. It was a real worry. With the timer ticking down again, they had a job to fulfill. Truth be told, the game will really only end the moment I find out the traitor. Anything to manipulate them into thinking they won. I suppose we'll just have to keep the train going. Hopefully I'm not next to die. Me neither. Nobody here probably would wish to die next. Even with this, I'm not going to offer myself up, even though I'm sure you've all made up your mind on the next vote already. It's not as though death is this terrible. We've been dead for like an eternity before we were born. Dying is just returning to that state, for all eternity this time. For Ira, that just came earlier than the rest of us. And the dead don't give a shit about what their corpse looks like. He sighed after talking, leaving the surroundings shortly thereafter. His tone had been completely void of any care for the deceased. Superbia left after him, most likely to search for a new Mii card, but not without looking at the dead body one last time. Okay, and that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for your patience, especially in this series. There's been so much going on in my life, including getting ready to go back to college for the first time in like, I don't know, 3 years because I took a break. So if you want to hear more about that, I was recently in a podcast about moving out in general, and you can check that out here. Otherwise, it's been a little hard for me to keep up with this channel, especially with all the things going on and college and not having my own computer, but even though I am going back to school, I now have my own laptop, so hopefully that should help me in getting this out more regularly to you guys. Okay? Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I will keep you as updated as I can, and you guys be sure to have a great day. Till next time!